That was fancy, wasn't it? A nice little introduction there from Restream. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who's joined already. Hope you're all okay. So Wolves against Leicester City in an hour or so, or less than an hour now. So what do we reckon, boys and girls? See if there's any team news available at the minute. Hello to Anil Kumar. Fingers crossed today. Who else is nervous? Everybody, I think. I don't think there's many people who are feeling confident, even though it was a very good result the other day. I think it's pretty unlikely that we're going to win. The team is out. Looks. Oh my gosh, what a piece of news! Johnny Otto is back. A couple of comments already. Brilliant. Johnny starting. Says Wolves AWE TV. Johnny starting. Yeah, that's genuinely. I've just come back from a walk. Been for a walk all morning, and that's a very, very uplifting piece of team news. Johnny Otto playing on the left-hand side for the first time since August. It would have been, I suppose, since his injury against Sevilla. No Bolly though is something of note, and he's not on the bench either at a glance. No. That's very, very good news that Johnny's back. Brilliant. So hopefully, that gives us a bit of... Obviously, that left-hand side was a really weak area of the pitch last week. Thank you very much, Wolves AWE TV. Very kind of you. Shiv, I feel exactly the same. I was not expecting it. I think it has been mentioned recently that he was a couple of weeks away from being fit and playing. But to be back in the team at this early stage is a relief. I did see the other day there was a clip from the first team training, and he whipped in a shot into the scored a goal in training, and it's a relief, isn't it? Because that left hand side was a struggle with Kilman playing there, but now with Johnny there, that seems a bit more sturdy. Kilman at centre back, I'm happy with that. I think if Bolly's not available, I think Kilman on the left-hand side of that back four, I think that works in our favour. That midfield three as well. I did put up a tweet the other day with a poll asking for who people thought should be the midfield pairing, but this has got it down as a 3 in midfield: Dendoncker, Neves, and Moutinho. So all three of them. So if it's a 4-3-3, that's pretty attacking, I'd say. From the 3 in midfield, I'd probably suggest that Dendoncker's probably going to be... Well, personally, I'd see him as more of a defensive-minded, but I think it's probably going to be Neves, Moutinho, and Dendoncker pushing on a little bit more. But that's a pretty attacking team, I think. Traore, Neto, and Silva. Opponents obviously is out for the next 5 or 6 weeks, it would seem. The bench says a lot, I think, about the depth in the squad, which is something that Shiv's just mentioned there. Extra depth shows, the lack of depth that we've got in the squad. Jack Train has also said the same kind of thing. Not a lot to come on. So we've got Hoover, Fabio Silva, Gibbs White, Vitinha, Ruddy, Sace, Richards. That's Lewis Richards, isn't it? And then Owen Otasowie and Longwyk, who's I think he's been on the bench the last couple of games. So hopefully we can. Hopefully we don't need to bring them on to sort of change the game. The people. It's good to see Sace back as well. I don't think he's been part of the squad for the last couple of games, maybe. So that gives us that versatility as well, with him being able to come on in midfield or defence. It's interesting as well that Kilman starting. You would assume Sace is fit enough to start, but not chosen to start over Kilman, first of all. So pretty happy with that team. Very, very pleased to see Johnny back. I think it's going to be a relief to see him playing, and hopefully, I imagine he's not going to get through the 90 minutes. So perhaps that's why. We've got options on the bench. Then Hoover and Sace could be brought on to move that around. So Leicester's team then. No Vardy in the starting 11. Is he on the bench? Yes, he is. So the Leicester team is Schmeichel, Pereira, Evans, Soyuncu, and Justin. James Justin has been in pretty hot form recently from the fullback position. Tielemans, Chowdhury, Perez, Maddison, Barnes, Iheanacho. So pretty strong team there from Leicester. I think it's probably as strong as they can. I've just wanted to check that we've actually got 9 players on the bench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we have, because that was the thing, wasn't it? On the weekend, I think against Arsenal, that we didn't have enough players to field a fully filled bench, but we do today, so that's pleasing. 3-5-3, says James Watkins. Looks like it's the formation. I think it depends, doesn't it, on what you see as the. Well, yeah, I suppose it could be if Dendonker's playing in the back 3. It could be. I wonder what the Wolves Twitter page has got it down as, because that's often a good. So they've got Dendonker as Dendonker as part of the back 3. Johnny Semedo, Neves, Moutinho. But so we've got this is what I've been talking about for the last couple of years as well, is the not having the versatility within a team, within a starting or with a squad to be able to change between formations within a game. This does look like we could be starting with 3 at the back, or we could be starting with 4 at the back. BBC have got his 4 at the back. The Wolves Twitter has got it as 3 at the back or 5 at the back. Neves and Moutinho, I think, deserve another go. Yeah, so Anil and Wolves AWE TV. I've got Wolves there as being, they believe it's the back 3. Hello, Matthew Paul. Thanks for joining us. Speaking about Wolves as well, I was pleased that Johnny's back. I thought the talking point for today's live stream was going to be the midfield pairing. I think, just looking at my Twitter, wonder if it's ended now, the poll. The poll that I put out was all to do with whether it was going to be Moutinho and Neves again, or Moutinho and Neves, or Neves and Dendoncker was the popular vote. Neves and Moutinho was second place by only a couple of votes. I would have gone for Neves and Moutinho. I'm pleased that it's that it is Neves and Moutinho. I think they played well enough to deserve another go. Jack Wardle, is Bolly injured? It would appear so. I mean, since he's come back from his injuries, he's played pretty much every game. I think he's started every game, hasn't he, as well? He was on the bench once when he didn't come on a few weeks ago. I can't remember who that was against. So yes, I think deserve another. They played well enough. I know that they obviously scored the 2 goals the other day, and that's what they'll get, the credit for. But I think their overall play was better in the last game than it was previously. So, yes, what are your thoughts then going into the game? How are people feeling? Confident of a win? I think Leicester are very hit and miss at the minute, from what I've seen, as a sort of very, very... I haven't watched them play. I sort of listened to the game, listened to part of the game against Leeds last week. I think they are dangerous. I think Vardy's on the bench as well. I think he's probably going to score, isn't he? It's the kind of thing that he would do. He's been out for a while, come back and score against us. Are you nervous about Cody Kilman playing in a back 4 without Bolly? That says M59. I think Bolly's got as much of an error in him as Kilman at the minute. I would like to see, before the end of the season, I'd like to see a Bolly and Kilman back 4. I think that would be an interesting way to look at Yeah, and Jack Wardle's just agreed with me, and he's watching from Australia. Brilliant. Thank you for joining us all the way from down under. What time is it over there? What time is it? So yeah, I agree. I think Bolly and Kilman, I think it's definitely a partnership that I want to see before the end of the season. I think it's likely as well that this is probably going to be Cody's last season where he's our number one choice as a partnership. Matthew Paul asking, is Podence injured? And then our friend speaking about Wolves has answered that by saying he's had a knock. I think he put a post up, didn't he, the other day about dealing with these injuries and coming back from these injuries. I can't remember what he said. Somebody will know in the chat, but he's definitely out for about 5 or 6 weeks, I think he said, unfortunately. Billy Rocher with an interesting treble here, 25-1 for Leicester. Sheffield United at an island to win, 25-1. Let me have a look at who are Leicester. Sorry, who are Leicester playing? I know who Leicester are playing. Sheffield United playing Chelsea. You never know, Billy. You never know. I wouldn't bother personally. I don't think Leicester are going to win. Although what I will say is if you can put money on a VAR decision to be controversial in this game, that would be pretty good odds, because when we do tend to play Leicester, in the last 2 years, the 3 Premier League fixtures that we've had with VAR being part of the game, they have played a big part in each of the games. We had the first game that we ever had with VAR was the adductor. That was it, Shiv. Good lad. So it was Bolly / Dendoncker handball goal in the first ever game with VAR. Then we had the Neto being offside, running back from a corner. Pretty much a year ago to the day. I think it was Valentine's Day, maybe. And then Kilman's handball penalty in the last game, which I don't think was a handball or penalty. So put your money on a VAR decision to be centre of attention today. So who's this? Bob Swatman saying, I'm just excited for Raul to come back in April. I mean, if he came back to play in April, that would be a hell of a turnaround, a hell of a comeback. I'm still resigned to him being out for the whole season, even if there have been rumours and things like that of him and little talk of him coming back before the end of the season. I think, it'd be great to see him maybe in the last couple of games getting some time, but I think he just needs to make sure that he doesn't put himself at risk of any further injuries. So Jack Wardle, who's watching in Australia, 12:17 right now. 1 a.m. kickoff, not too bad of a time. There's definitely worse ones like 3 a.m. kickoffs or 5 a.m. Oh, man. Yeah, I suppose 1 a.m. on a Saturday night is not too bad. Yeah. So, yes, how are we all feeling then about the game? Do we think that there's going to be another shock result? Breaking news, Albion are losing 2-0. Great, there's been 2 goals in the last 4 minutes. So Kane and Son Heung-min beating the Albion. That's good. It's so annoying, isn't it, with the Albion? The last game that they won was against us, and they've lost 3 of the 4 games in between. Brilliant. And then they're losing 2-0 today. So just shows how it goes, doesn't it? But yeah, win for Wolves today would be important as well. Would take us above Crystal Palace. But they must be playing today as well, haven't they? Let me have a look. But yeah, I think we've really just got to focus on. Oh, they must be playing tomorrow, I think. Yeah, they've got Leeds tomorrow, so that'll be a goal fest, and everybody will be saying what a fantastic, great win that will be for Palace. But the Leeds are amazing. Am I confident with Dendoncker? So Dendoncker in a back 3. KTF Wolverley saying, I like this from Shiv. Raul to come on in the 80th minute and score an injury time winner to win win us the FA Cup and put his mask on. I'll add to that. Well, how do you all feel about the FA Cup? So obviously the FA Cup game's this Thursday, isn't it? Against Southampton. And then we've got Southampton next Sunday as well. That'd be nice. Right? That's Valentine's Day gift for everybody. I see we've derailed Arsenal. Have Arsenal lost again, have they? Oh, they lost to Villa. Villa. What is it with Villa now this season? They've started to hit form again. And they've got games in hand as well. So they could... perhaps they could be pushing for a top 7 place. That would be very, very annoying. Remember the last... So Wolves are playing in the Premier League today, Bob. FA Cup is on Thursday night or Thursday evening, like 5 o'clock kickoff, I believe. Let me just double check. I don't know about you lot, but the games are just coming thick and fast every single day, it seems. 5:30 on Thursday, then 12 o'clock on Sunday, and then the Friday after that as well. So we've just seems like every couple of days we do have games, which I think has been a bad thing recently, and that's why we found ourselves dropping down the table a little bit, because when you're in bad form, you can say, oh yeah, we can have, you can play yourselves out of form, play yourselves back into form perhaps, but I think it's worked in the opposite way recently. We've had real negative results and negative performances, and that's just bred a lack of confidence and stuff like that. So yeah, it's can we beat Southampton 9-0? Well, it was funny, wasn't it, yesterday, because Newcastle ended up with 9 players and beat Southampton, having Southampton been down to 9 players the previous game and losing 9-0. So I think Southampton might be one to look out for next week, because I think they could be quite a wounded animal. The FA Cup might be a good chance for them to really rotate some players, and I think I'm more worried about that game in the FA Cup than I am about today's game. I think Southampton might be ready for a bit of revenge, ready to get themselves back on the straight and narrow. Jack says that the FA Cup is our best chance for Europe next season right now. Might as well have a crack at it. Plus, a lot of the big teams have already been knocked out as well. Yeah, I suppose that's a good way to look at it. But if you look at the league table, if we go on a decent run from now to the end of the season, if we look at 7th place, Tottenham currently in 7th place. They're winning right now, so they'll go up to 39 points. So we're 13 points off 7th place. So I think it's pretty unlikely we would get as high as 7th. But I think we just need to focus on getting to 40 points. Really, I don't think we need 40 points to stay up. Also, Brighton, I assumed, excuse me, just because of hearing about their results recently, I assumed that they were 3rd or something in the table because of the way that they were going on social media. But no, they are still below us. Shiv, we're the perfect team for roadkill, let alone a wounded animal like Southampton. We know, don't we? We know, Shiv. If any team needs, a pick-me-up, play against Wolves, and we'll sort you out. Don't worry. So Southampton definitely going to do the double over Wolves next week. And yeah, Matthew Paul says, a bit of a shock to mention Wolves and 7th in the same sentence. Although stranger things have happened, you never know. We could definitely make a little bit of a run for it. I mean, it would take a lot. We would have to win. I think what we ended up on the last couple of seasons, I think we got to nearly 6. Did we get to 60 points last year? We certainly got very close. So we're going to have to win. We're going to have to get another 34 points from the remaining 16 games. So what's that, 12 wins? Unlikely. I think 14 more points to get us to 40. And that would be as good as we can hope for this season. It's been a very, very strange season. Very interesting at the top of the table, though. I think it's probably Manchester City's to lose now. 7 points ahead of Liverpool with a game in hand. So you imagine that will be 10 soon. I think Man United, I don't think anybody's consistent enough to win the league. I think that's why it would be Man City's, because they are just boringly consistent. I imagine that they will win the league. We got 59 points last season. Okay. So just Bob has asked a question here, which I'll throw out to people in the chat as well. Moutinho or Neves, who's better? I think it's a very interesting question. I think it's difficult to just to sort of look at them now because they're at different stages of their career. Obviously, Neves, 12 years younger, something I think, than Moutinho, so it's a little bit unfair to judge them in terms of experience. And I think if you look at Moutinho back when he was Neves' age, I think they were probably very similar in terms of ability, in terms of how many caps perhaps they'd had for Portugal at this point. So personally, if you're going to choose one of these players to play for you at their very best, I'd pick Moutinho, just because of his experience and because of I think we saw a perfect example of Moutinho at his best last Tuesday against Arsenal. I think that was one of his best performances in a Wolves shirt after 2 or 3 of his worst ever performances. So who do you then pick, guys, in the chat? This is City play Liverpool today, so it should be a good one. Guarantee it'll be 0-0. It will be 0-0. But I'm back in City anyway from that one. Yeah, so KTF Wolverley said about Johnny being in the starting 11. There was shock to the stream at the very beginning of the live because nobody was expecting it. We were told he was going to be another couple of weeks until he was fit to play. So it's very, very nice to see that he's back fit again. Sorry, I just clicked on the wrong one. When do we play Man City so we can beat them? Well, the way that we're playing in the minute, I don't think it's not nailed on. It's not nailed on that we would win. Just want to have a look if there's anybody watching on Facebook. If anybody's put any comments. No, they haven't. Lovely. That's good. So Jack has said, I think we don't look the same team without Neves. We look slower and never really look in control of games without him. Also, the most important player of our rebuild. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's something that we have to bear in mind now over the next few months, is that we're going to go through a period of rebuilding. And that's why I think I mentioned before that next season is probably a bit of a write-off as well, in terms of, we have had, and I'm guilty of this myself as well, thinking that this season I'll be automatically be trying to improve on previous seasons and that we would be pushing for top 4. I genuinely thought that this season that would happen, but I think it was a little bit naive. And we've had a lot of young players that have come in. We've also had a couple of injuries that have really cost us, and I think next season we have to sort of bear that in mind as well. In that we're going to have key players who might move on. We might see. We might see Cody moving on. I think we might see Moutinho maybe taking a bit of a back seat, and we might see another midfielder coming in. We might see players like Dendoncker leave. We might see Adama might leave. I think it's going to be a big shift in the squad. I keep talking about the sort of 3 years, in that managers and teams tend to not have more than 3 years in charge of a club, and this is Nuno's 4th season. Surprise, surprise, he's struggling because I do think it's time. I don't think Nuno is going to move on, and it's very funny that also in the chat today there's been no talk of Nuno out. We've won one game, and all of a sudden there's no Nuno out talk, which I think is telling of how fickle Wolves fans are. But I do think there's going to be a big change in the squad in the summer, and I think it'll take a year. I did, Shiv. I did. So I think there's going to be a big summer, big change. So yes, and I did have to throw the Adama might leave, but I think it's just more. It's a mix now of, you know, Adama might want to leave in the summer. He's not had a good season, and there's no denying that. You know, you can't not score a goal all season and not get any assists all season and still have a good season. I am hoping though for the remaining, what have we got? 16 games left. 16 games left. I'm hoping that him and Willian Jose start to link up a little bit better, and perhaps, I mean, he did look better on Tuesday and Wednesday because he had something to aim at in the middle, and I think that is really key. And I do hope that he continues to improve in that respect and can start providing, you know, assists. I'm not worried about him scoring too many goals. That's not what we expect from Traore, but making things happen. I don't think it's going to be another 4-3 today. I can't see us scoring that many goals, to be honest. Either 4 or 3. How many seasons do I expect us to keep Neto for? I think Neto, again, we're talking of key players who are going to rebuild the team around next season. I think there's 2 key players, Neves and Neto, going forward, both of whom are under 25, both of whom we've got them tied down with a contract for their best years. So I think it's definitely going to be those 2 going forward. And Neto, I mean, whatever Neto wants as a contract, I think I don't know what his contract is. He will have a fairly long contract, I imagine, but I imagine that Fosun will be having talks with him to improve his contract and to avoid him from going elsewhere next season because of the upper echelons of teams now that will have been watching him in the last couple of weeks. I think it'll be interesting to see, but I would certainly make sure that we tie Neto down for the next 5 years. I'd say we've got to make sure that we keep him. Jack's asking, what are my thoughts on Willian Jose? I think he combines really well, almost better than Raul. I think he's better than Raul at keeping the ball upfield, which is, you know, why we've been. I think that's the key reason why our form has been so bad recently, is because we haven't had a focal point. We haven't had somebody who can hold the ball upfield. I think people mentioned, I think it might have been Tim Spears mentioning on the Athletic that when the ball has been played up from Cody was shouting, hold it, and but couldn't. Fabio Silva's not physical enough, and some of the other players are not technical enough or clever enough to be able to keep the ball upfield. And I genuinely think that now, with Willian Jose, our form will improve because we will just have a more possession higher up the field, and that's been a really, really key part. And I think we'll start to get some more results now purely because of his physicality. And yeah, he doesn't look to hold on to the ball much at all. Is what I've noticed. Is the ball comes to him and he's very, very. His first thought is to just offload it very, very quickly, which is not. Jimenez tends to hold on to it a lot more and dribble a little bit and look up a little bit more and spend more time on the ball. And I think Willian I think you're right there, Jack, in that he does suit our style of play a little bit better, getting the ball quickly and laying it off to others. I think he's a really, I think it's vital. I think it's really important. I think he's going to be a big player for these last 16 games of the season. And from what I've seen so far, I would definitely be signing him in the summer when we can. And I think 20 million, I think, is probably a reasonable amount of money for him, or 22, whatever it's rumoured to be, because He hasn't scored yet. We've seen he's got a very, very powerful shot. He's had a couple of really good chances and has done pretty well with them. The volley against Palace, we did really well to keep it down. The header, I think he could have done a little bit better with. He could have got it a yard either side and it's in. Didn't really have many chances against Arsenal, but did a good job at holding the ball up. So there's my thoughts on Willian. I think he's pretty good. And somebody that we need to look onto. Just on the same topic, Jack has replied. I think Jimenez finds himself in pockets out wide sometimes. But when it comes to Jose, he flicks the ball off and gets into the box, which is good. Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to explain. But you've done pretty well there. And then Bob Swatman has given us definitive proof that Jose is better than Jimenez, because Jose's got an 85 rating on FIFA and Jimenez has only got 84. And it can't be wrong, can it, Brumwolf? No, it cannot. Also, so I don't know if I mentioned this on my YouTube channel. I certainly mentioned it on Talking Wolves. But I actually signed Willian Jose on Football Manager back in November, perhaps, when I first started my save. It was one of my first signings. So he's not a player that I know about. He's just if you've ever played Football Manager, you sort of get given a load of players by your scouts, have a look at these, and he sort of fitted. I thought he'd be a good number 2 for Jimenez. Good, to give Jimenez a bit of competition and a bit of rest, because the game doesn't take into consideration Wolves' magical fitness thing. So you have to, be able to balance players like that. And he played in a more number 10 role, played a bit more deeper, which I think probably is what he's doing now. He's playing as a sort of false 9, a bit further back than a striker. But he can shoot. His long-range shooting on Football Manager is excellent. And we've seen that. The shot that he had against Arsenal that stung Leno's hands, I think, showed that he's very, very capable. But now, I'm in my 4th season now, I think, with Wolves on Football Manager. And he's causing problems. He wanted more game time, but I've signed quite a lot of young Portuguese players, obviously, and he's not getting the game time that he wants, so he's arguing with me. So I put him into the under-18s and put him on the transfer list, so hopefully I can get some money for him. But yeah, there we go. So Anil Kumar has asked, what do I think the plan for Fabio Silva is? When do you think we will sell? And what do you think we can get for him? I know that he's not played well, and he's not. Lots of people saying that he doesn't look like a footballer. He hasn't got the physicality of a footballer. He hasn't got much pace. He hasn't really started very well. But he is only 18, and that's something that I keep on banging on about. And I think it's really important to remember that we cannot expect him to come in and score 20, 30 goals this season. I think that would be harsh. And I think he wouldn't have played. I think he's already played more minutes, twice as many minutes as he would have got had Jimenez been fully fit. We've seen how long it takes players to bed into Nuno's teams often. And I think it's more likely that he'll get loaned out next season to maybe that Portuguese team that we own, or Grasshoppers or something, or league or championship team, something like that. Get him some confidence and playing in adult football. I think that's something that he's really, I think he's really lacking. Somebody as well who's been making the news this week, apparently Rafa Mir has been. Good afternoon, Huss. Nice of you to join us. Rafa Mir has been linked with Real Madrid. Now, I know that this was a story back in 2018 when we first signed him, is that Real Madrid were looking at him, and this was a big signing. What a signing. So it could just be that Rafa Mir is on Real Madrid's radar and has been for a couple of years. But he's having a good season at Huesca. So would you be open to loaning Silva to develop a bit and then getting Rafa Mir back for a season? I think it'd be interesting to have a little look at Rafa Mir now, because when he first signed, everybody remembers when he made his first start against Swansea, he came on, and everyone was really excited. They already had a song for him and all this sort of stuff. And then that first shot that he had from about 25 yards that trickled out wide, and it was pretty silent across the ground. So, but I haven't watched him. I would be interested to see how he's developed as a player in that intervening time. And, I think it'd be worth having a look. If he's scoring goals in La Liga, I know it's not the most competitive league in the world, but if you're playing for Huesca and you're scoring goals, it's pretty good. Brumwolf's got a bit of a conspiracy theory here. I think that shot from Jose broke Leno's fingers, and that's why he got himself in sent off because his hand was throbbing. Harry Williams, the return of Johnny, great, brilliant news. I don't think anybody was expecting that today. I think, but that I know it's typical of Nuno and Wolves under Nuno in that we don't know anything about these. We don't know anything about the signings or anything about the injuries and stuff until immediately before they happen. And we've seen a little bit of Johnny in preseason training, in first team training, and then a surprise. Great to have him in the team. Not something I expected. So Huss was saying Man United against Everton was the funniest game of the month already. That ended 3-3, didn't it? I haven't actually seen the highlights from that. So Tottenham is still beating Albion. Thank goodness. 7 minutes left in that game. A couple of minutes now left on this stream until I go and get myself comfortable for the game on the sofa. So let's get your pre-match predictions then, please, in the chat. Ideal first 11 for Wolves. So I'll quickly go through this as you lot put your things in the chat. 2-2 says Huss. So Patricio in goal would be my goalkeeper, obviously. Johnny at left back. Probably Semedo at right back. We haven't got any other options. Bolly and Kilman I would like to see as a pairing in the middle. Moutinho and Neves in midfield. Again, I'd like to see Otasawi playing in a middle, in a 3 midfield. And then if everybody's fit, it would be, or maybe we could even have like Willian Jose in midfield as a number 10, attacking midfielder maybe. And then Neto on the left, Podence on the right. Lots of predictions in then. So we've got 2-2 from Huss, Desmond. 2-1 from Harry Williams. Any type of draw, says Matthew Paul. Sorry, 3-1 to Leicester. Sorry, boys, says Shiv. I tend to agree with you, Shiv. Very bold prediction here from Matthew Paul. 4-4. Again, like I said, somebody mentioned 4-3 earlier on. I very much doubt the Wolves can score 4 goals at the minute. I don't doubt that we can concede 4. But I can't see scoring 4. 1-0. I imagine that's to Wolves from Brum Wolf. 2-1 to Leicester, says Young Druzy. Hope not, though. I think this is telling, though, isn't it? The confidence amongst the fan base for this game is not as high as it was last week. Wolves can't seem to score more than 2 goals. Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Harry. Yeah, so it's an interesting game. It should be quite, on paper, should be quite an evenly matched game, but Leicester are far better than Wolves, I think, at the minute, and therefore, I think if we get anything from the game, I think that's pretty good. I'd take a 0-0. I'd take us to stink the place out like we did against Chelsea and get a draw like that. But hopefully you enjoyed that live stream. Thank you to everybody who's joined in and got involved in the chat. I appreciate it. And there'll be another one for the game on Thursday, just before the FA Cup game on Thursday evening. So it's a 5:30 kickoff. So I'll probably go live at 4:30. So thank you to everybody who's joined me, and we'll be back again. Last couple of predictions. And I thought that said Brian, first of all. Brain says 2-0 Leicester. Hart says 2-1 Wolves. And finally, Harry Williams hopes that Willian Jose scores. Come on, you Wolves, says Young Druzy. Come on, you Wolves, says me. I'll see you all again after the game for a review. And then see you on Thursday evening for the live before the Southampton FA Cup match. Bye, everybody. Have a nice